It was the bass that got me hooked on the sound. It was the depth of the sound. It was the bass. It was the emotion that you get out of the music, and that's what really got me into the sound, and I was hooked from there on. It's gotten popular because there's something in it for everybody. There's something in it for everybody. There's bits and pieces of sounds that everybody likes from other forms of music. There's bits and pieces of house, there's bits and pieces of breaks and techno and dub and reggae. And there's bits and pieces of everything that everybody likes, and there's something in it for everybody. And if you're willing to look hard enough to find what you're looking for in the music, you have no choice but to like dubstep. You know, because it's everything is there. You just gotta find what you like out of it. You know, if you like big bass on a big system, it's there. If you like these synths that are sounding atmospheric, it's there. If you like dub, it's there. If you like reggae, it's there. If you just like something that sounds sort of breaky, it's there too. Everything's there, man. It's like the Swiss Army knife of music, you know what I mean? You pick up a Swiss Army knife, you got all these different pieces, and there's something there for you to use. That's dubstep. There's something in it for everybody. Honestly, I love the sound, man. I'm a DJ, I'm a lover of music. I'm always looking to try to find something different and something fresh, you know? I'm always trying to get the crowd hyped up with the sets and get everybody involved, you know? And for me, that's what's most important. Anything that's about growing the sound and getting people out to come and hear it, and getting people to buy records or listen to my sets or listen to my radio shows or anything about that, or any of the other radio shows. That's what I'm about. I love it. All DJs need to do this one of these days. It's called grab bag. What you do is you turn your record bag around, and everybody writes the names of the dub plates on the sleeves. What you do is you turn the sleeves around, right? And you have people in the crowd come out and pull the dubs. That way they know you're not planning your sets. So you just pick a tune, you play it. Next person comes up, picks a tune, you play it. Grab bag, keeps the whole night moving. Everybody knows at that point you're not planning your sets, and you don't know what you're gonna play next until you actually look at the tune and say, okay, oh, it's this. Then you play it. Grab bag. It's the next trick in DJing, trust me. I'm gonna innovate it. Right now, if I had to pick one tune right now, it's a Chrome Star tune called Path of Jah. Every time I play it, it's just pull-ups, fives, rewinds, lifts-ups, every single time. And I'm playing that tonight. And it's gonna go down big. So that might be my tune right now. But there's a bunch of tunes. There's so much good music out. And there's so much good music from not necessarily just London, there's so much good music everywhere, you know what I mean? And I'm not even talking just London, there's Bristol, there's Leeds, there's different parts of America. You got Sweden, Norway, Finland, there's Spain, there's Japan. There's so many people out here that are making the sound right now, and it's helping to grow the sound. So I mean, for me to pick one tune, I mean, it's tough, you know what I mean? But there's so much good music out there, man. It's a good thing for everybody. The one thing that's a beautiful thing about the internet is everybody can get what they want when they want it. It isn't like 5 or 6 years ago where you had to wait for something to come out and wait and listen and hope and pray that a big tune that you heard in the club will come out. You don't have to wait for it anymore. If you want to hear it, you can get it online, you can listen to it, someone's gonna play it on radio, you can download it, listen to it, put it on your iPod, get on the tube, listen to it, put it in your car, listen to it. It's beautiful, man. I mean, hell, without the internet, you know, I'm not sure the sound would grow as much as it has. Hell, I'm not sure I would be where I am right now. You know what I mean? So many people found out about what I was doing because I was doing a radio show that was all dubstep in America, geez, a little more than 3 years ago. And people started hearing about it, and that was basically through the internet. It wasn't like I was calling people up on my cell phone in London saying, yo, I'm Joe Nice, listen to my show. I mean, people were just finding out about it overseas. And so many things are happening now because of the internet. You're having sharing of music, sharing of tunes. People are getting a hold of you for bookings and that sort of thing. Obviously, MySpace is big because so many people not only are finding out about tunes, but they're able to connect with other people from other parts of the world and other parts of London and other parts of America. The internet's been a big role. Without the internet, a lot of things wouldn't be the same, including what we're dealing with right now in dubstep. Wow, American artists, guys from the States. There's a few of them actually. Moldy, I think is one of them. Moldy he's a drum and bass producer primarily, but he started making some very, very big tunes. He actually has his own label coming out called, oh gosh, I can't even remember the name of the label. But there's a couple tunes coming out on a label of his. He just started it up. One of them is called Black Forest Dub. It's a monster tune. Another drum and bass guy from America is actually from San Francisco named Juju. I think a lot of drum and bass heads would know who he is. He's got his own label called Narco Hertz. He's got a couple releases out, and he's got his own party called Futuro. It's in San Francisco, and I think it's a dubstep monthly party. That's going off pretty well right now. There's a bunch of other heads in America. Matty G's, I think from San Jose, California. He's got some absolute corkers, some absolute big tunes coming out on a couple of labels. Him and Nick Argon, they're doing some big things. So there's about at least 3 right now, and you got Jukali, who's an MC, but he does more dance hall stuff. But he's doing a lot more things with dubstep. Secret Agent Gel is another one. He's got another bunch of big tunes coming out from him. He's also in New York. You're gonna hear a lot of things from him in the not too distant future, especially in the new label, the Dub War Recordings label. It's a 3-track EP that's coming out within the next, I'd say, 6 to 8 weeks. So there's quite a few Americans that you need to keep your ears open for, definitely. There's so much good music out. And there's so much good music from not necessarily just London. There's so much good music everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm not even talking just London. There's Bristol. There's Leeds. There's different parts of America. You got Sweden, Norway, Finland. There's Spain. There's Japan. There's so many people out here that are making the sound right now, and it's helping to grow the sound. So I mean, for me to pick one tune, I mean, it's tough. You know what I mean? But there's so much good music out there, man. It's a good thing for everybody, man. Just learning production, learning how to wrap my head around Reason. More DJ bookings, more everything, more radio shows. I'd like to do a mix CD, hopefully a Dubstep All-Star CD in the near future. Fingers crossed, we'll see what happens, man. I'm just gonna, like I said, keep my head to the sky and keep going strong. It's the only way I know how to do it. Joe Nice, Dubstep DJ, representing Baltimore, Maryland, USA. 410 Formula.
I'm D1 and you're watching Dubfiles. The killer question. Dubstep. I don't know. I think Jason from Transition got the best view on that. It's a heavy bass and a big snare, innit? Like, I'd agree with that. I suppose that's a good thing. Like, dubstep is quite new still, so to really classify, it's still like finding itself, I'd say. Like, there's loads of different sounds coming out from loads of different producers. So I mean, I can't really say dubstep's exactly this. I mean, maybe a year ago you'd have said dubstep was half-step music, and then 2 years before that you'd have said dubstep is conga music. So it keeps on changing, it keeps on progressing. So there's still a long way to go before you can kind of look back and say, oh, dubstep's this. I think personally it's musical. There's been arguments as whether I even make dubstep, kind of, I don't know, but it's a bit more musical. But then I suppose I'm musically influenced. Like, I played the piano from about 7, I played the saxophone. Do you know what I mean? That little family from like mum and dad's side are both quite musically influenced as well. So I mean, I've always been more for chords and melodies and that, whereas I suppose some people will argue dubstep's quite bass heavy, but I'm coming from, I suppose, a different angle. I think sometimes I'm overcrowd my tunes with a bit too much music, but that's something I've got to work on. But yeah, I suppose it's just the more musical side. You will hear the odd dart thing from me, but I'm more personally into like the more musical stuff and the more kind of melodic stuff that's going on with the dubstep. I'm a bit rusty. I haven't played it since I was about 14, but it would be good. I'd definitely like to do that. Definitely, it'd be a good look. That's something I'd like to think in maybe 10 years you could do a proper session, like where you're just live instruments playing the like dubstep music in it. Like, it'd be good to see it sort of grow to that kind of level and status. That would be quite good. But yeah, I mean, I could even play this. I've played saxophone on some of my tunes. Do you know what I mean? Some certain saxophone bits and that. I've only been to Belgium, innit? I ain't really done too many, I haven't done no real bookings outside of London. But I mean, the plan is to get to see the world for free is alright. Do you know what I mean? Like getting to go to loads of countries to DJ, that would be quite nice. But I mean, they'd come, like I said earlier, I mean, I'm more a producer than I'm a DJ, so I mean, yeah, it'd be good to get bookings, but I'd want to make sure that I always kept up to date with tunes and that, and I wouldn't slack on that side, because that means a bit more to me than what DJing does. So in that sense, I mean, just to get enough bookings to make sure I've got money in my pockets, alright, so I can get some McDonald's at the end of the week and shit, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel alright, do you know what I mean? Like, if you listen to like a personal DJ set of mine, you'll hear like a lot, everything's got a lot more musical and a lot, I think, obviously you're always going to improve as a music producer. Like, there's no point in really doing it unless you are improving. And it was just, you know, when I was making tunes back then, like Crap Bong and tunes like that, I don't think I was really utilising the skills that I actually had to its fullest. Not necessarily because I didn't want to, just I didn't really know how to incorporate it into what I wanted to do, but sort of after a couple of years you begin to realise how you can do that. And I'm beginning to do that, like, now. I think in the last year I've really been making stuff that, like, I'm like, I don't know if it'd be right to say personally feeling, but like I'm beginning to make stuff that I feel is more me. I mostly would have said that though when I made Crap Bong, so I suppose it's a bit of a pointless comment, but I do really like what I'm doing at the moment. I'm quite happy with what I'm doing, and I think it's definitely gone in a more musical direction, I suppose, where maybe dubstep is quite defined by its bass lines and the heavy bass and the weight of the bass. I suppose my music's not necessarily always like that. I do still make tunes like that, but I think at the moment there's a lot more stuff that's more concentrated on the chord progression and stuff like that than what it is on beats and bass. D1 the producer, without a doubt. The worst thing is, yeah, I suppose everyone say this, I'm the best bedroom DJ on the planet. Me by myself, bruv, like, I can mix without headphones, bruv, but when I get in front of a crowd, I'm pots and pans, bruv, all the way, bruv, do you know what I'm saying? But, no, I'm definitely D1 the producer. I do like to DJ though, it's a good buzz, like, I love DJing, innit? And I've spent so much money on dubs, I need to DJ, you get me? But like, no, definitely D1 the producer, man. But it's good to DJ, just to interact with the crowd and to watch a tune go off because you know you've played it and that's a nice feeling, definitely. But yeah, I'll stick to production, man, definitely. I can take a positive from most forms of music there. There's not a form of music I've ever heard and gone, right, that is disgusting. I'm grade 8 piano, I'm grade 5 music theory, I'm grade 2 tenor sax. I'd love that if there was ever the opportunity to do like a live session, drummers, guitarists and all that stuff. I'd love to play the piano and that. The strong influences, I mean, from a young age to even today, I love to listen to like Thelonious Monk and John Coltrane and all the old jazz musicians. My nan does Billie Holiday impressions, so I've heard bare Billie Holiday as well, so that's been quite jokey as well. So like, I've grown up listening to like a lot of jazz music and that, but then I played classical piano, so that gave me an appreciation for the whole classical music thing. And then my dad and that, I mean he's mostly made every bit of music you could think of, but like he sort of growing up, I can just remember hearing like a lot of happy hardcore house, jungle do you know what I mean? So there's loads of influences. I mean, I could never really pinpoint and say I personally think that my music comes from this, because you might listen to the tune and disagree where it comes from, so I'm not gonna say that. But I mean, yeah, there's tons of influences. I'm 15 and I was like, oh, sod school, which ain't a good thing by the way, but like, I was like, forget school, but I was like literally going to school from like 10 o'clock till lunchtime and then getting the train from New Malden to Waterloo and then Waterloo to Black Market, like, and just going to check youngsters. Obviously, like, me and him built up a bit of a rapport and just got to know each other quite well. Then I started to make beats, like, seriously, like, wanting to make beats. And I was giving youngsters tapes. I didn't even have a CD rewriter these times, so I was giving, man, TDK 90s, bruv. So, like, I was giving him enough of those, and he'd, you know, like, I think where Youngster was still making a name for himself, I think he'd only just got on Rinse and he was doing like the 1 till 3 or something like that, the mad hour show. Like, he didn't even have tasks these times, like, he was just DJing by himself saying, yeah, this is Youngster, like, so like, those days, so like, he was quite willing to kind of help me out, show me where I was going wrong and what I could do to make my tunes better or more accessible to play and stuff like that. So I mean, it took like a good year of that before like he started cutting my first beats and that. That all happened, and like, you know, he started playing some tunes, and then a Crap Bong happened, and then it was after that like I had a meeting with Ammunition and it was sort of like we just agreed, yeah, like we'll just do this tempo thing. And I mean, at the end of the day, like they're a massive label.